Hello, I am Chandler Klebs, and in this video, I want to read the second chapter of George Ortega's book. Here's his book here. It's Free Will, Its Refutation, Societal Cost, and Role in Climate Change Denial. And I'm going to read the second chapter here, and then I'm going to spend the remaining time just talking about what I think of this. Refuting free will is straightforward. A. Everything is caused. B. Human thoughts are caused. C. The antecedent causes to human thoughts regress to before the person's birth. D. Therefore, human thoughts are not fundamentally attributable to a human free will. Some free will defenses assume that demonstrating that human behavior is not fundamentally deterministic might provide an opening for free will. However, choices arising from indeterministic or uncaused processes cannot rationally be attributed to anything, including humans. The prospect has emerged that other mechanisms that are described as neither deterministic nor indeterministic and can be labeled causal self-caused, or ex nihilo, out of nothing, may be where a free will resides. However, as Strawson, 1994, explains, it has not been shown how a self-caused mechanism allows for free will, and the same can be said for free will arising ex nihilo. While Newton invoked determinism to explain the motion of objects, much of the confusion today over whether determinism refutes free will stems from equating the causality manifested in determinism with the correlate of prediction. Laplace described this causal principle, asserting that present events are connected with preceding ones by a tie based upon the evident principle that a thing cannot occur without a cause which produces it. What created much of the current confusion was that he then went on to describe the complete knowledge of the past and prediction of the future that is the theoretically logical correlate of causality. In essence, he wrote that if one could know everything about the universe at any given moment, one would know everything about any previous state of the universe and be able to predict everything about any future state. It is important to note that determinism connotes two related but not identical or mutually dependent concepts, causality and prediction. In 1927, Heisenberg showed that it is in principle impossible to know everything about any given moment of the universe because it is in principle impossible to measure the simultaneous position and momentum and other conjugate variables of a particle. Some physicists and philosophers thereafter made the mistake of concluding this limitation somehow exempts the particle from being governed by causality and renders its behavior uncertain. Okay, let's see. Oh, this is a longer chapter. I don't think I'm going to read the whole second chapter in this video. I'm going to stop at that last paragraph. Okay, here's the deal. What it's saying here, and this is very important to understand, that understanding that everything has a cause in the universe means that, in theory, somebody could predict it. An omniscient being like, Laplace's demon or God or whatever, something that knows everything that's going on in the universe, knows the position and the movement of every particle, could in theory know all the events that even happen in our brains, and therefore predict with complete certainty what we would choose in every single situation in our lives. Now, this is important to understand because now, in theory, yes, the thing is, just because this is true, it's true that if you know everything about a certain situation, you can predict everything. Now, it's also true that none of us, because of our human limitations, of our limits of knowledge, our limits to memory of that knowledge, means that we can't always predict with 100% certainty what someone will do in any given situation. However, here's where it gets interesting. The reason that determinism is important to understand is that because we can predict some things, not all of them. Because here's the deal: if the world was just random, if things were uncaused, literally uncaused, then there would be no reason to suspect anything. So let's just say if some person goes and kills a whole bunch of people, or let's say that there's some rapist who has, he's raped 20 women, okay? Well, okay. Why do we put that person in jail? Why do we stop them from doing their crimes? Because we have a pretty good idea from what they've done in the past, what they will do in the future. That's the point of determinism. Now, a person can't look at an embryo or a newborn, and by looking at them then, they can't know what they'll end up like as an adult. They can't actually know that. However, we have pretty good evidence to suggest that certain beliefs, certain ideas lead people to certain actions. For example, if you are taught that black people are not as human as you, you're taught that their lives don't matter as much as you, well then you might not treat black people the same way you treat white people. If you're taught that women are less than you, that they exist to be your slaves, and that they're weak and stupid and all that, well then you're going to start treating women bad if you're taught that. And if you are taught that human life matters, but the lives of cows, chickens, turkeys, or pigs doesn't matter, well, then that's going to affect you, how you treat them. Take an example of how Jews and Muslims don't eat pig because they view them as unclean animals, and like I guess the religions forbid them from eating pigs. So because they're taught that, that cancels out their future choice to eat pig because they were taught that it's wrong. That's the whole point, is that because of determinism, because we act in accordance with the information that we've stored in our brains, and this is totally out of our control. When you hear someone say something, you either believe them or you don't. You either accept something or you reject it. That's the whole point. And so we can't, like, I can't say that I chose to become like vegetarian or vegan, because I'm aiming to be like vegan, trying to find out what I can do more and more about that. But see, here's the thing. It wasn't like a choice. It's not like I chose it, because I just came to see those other animals as equal to me. But if we had free will, or if things were uncaused or random, well then guess what? There'd be like no personality. That's just it, is that people change, but there's always a cause for that change. And so changes are gradual. A person doesn't change like 1 minute they are, that 1 minute they're of this belief system and another minute they believe something totally different. No, it doesn't work that way. People change religions, they change political views, they change their general philosophy of life. They change their habits. Some people start or stop smoking. Yes, they change their habits, but there's always a cause for it. It's not like things happen randomly. And as George Ortega points out in his books, and all determinists will point this out, because that's what determinism is, understanding that everything is causal. Everything has a cause. And once you get that, then you start seeing, wait, rather than just waiting around for somebody to choose to start doing something or stop doing something related to climate change, for example, because George is very concerned about climate change, and so am I. Like, we're not going to just wait around and expect people to use their free will, because they don't have a free will, and we know that. So here's the deal. They're not going to do it with a free will, and they're not going to self-cause, causal sui, a decision. Their decision isn't going to come ex nihilo, out of nothing. It's not going to randomly happen. It's not going to happen acausally, without a cause. If somebody changes any part of their lifestyle at all, there is a cause for that. And yeah, this is a big deal. Like, there's always a cause for why people change what they do, and there's so many causes that it's hard to cover anything in a short video of all the causes that led me to be the person I am now. But I started realizing, wait, I was taught to believe in free will ever since I was a child, because that's what churches teach, that's what Christians teach, that's what the world believes in, like that you have a choice over what kind of person you're going to be. And I'm like, well, you know what? No, I don't. I am who I am, and people don't choose their gender, their sexual orientation, or even their religious beliefs necessarily, because they don't choose what they're exposed to, and they also don't choose how their brain works. And my brain works in a certain way that led me to be this anti-choice determinist, where I happen to be very pro-life and I'm against abortion, but I'm also concerned by anything else that kills things. But I also understand that there's a cause for everything that happens. So I became this anti-choice determinist who became very active about trying to explain this to the world.